Greetings, PerfBytes listeners. It's your old friend Satan here again, and I'm proud to introduce the News of the Damned.
Of come to the site, it has to involve the entire stack of the website. Either you're handing out a shopping cart first thing when they arrive, or you're getting a place in line or something. But it's literally as soon as you start the website, the whole infrastructure is a chatter. And that's the last thing you want with a high-volume website. You want to push as much of that to a content distribution network of your own design or a commercial one, and let it be serviced out in the edge. And then when someone is committed on the revenue path, then you start giving them resources.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And it's also, it can be just inherent in the platform, whatever platform you're
remember the Indian school certificate that were being posted, and of course all the students want to go to see what their scores are.
Oh, yes.
And all their parents want to go so they know whether to beat their children for not being as good academically as mom and dad want them to be. Well, the same thing happened this year as happened last year.
And we covered them last year, so we didn't reach out. Maybe we're not doing enough to reach out and tell people how to fix their sites. In this one, I think when you analyzed the site last year on the show, it was one of those where clearly they just could have scaled out. Could have had static content, could have scaled it out, could have done it in a CDN. Maybe
that could have been statically allocated, put it out in the CDN, and have a couple of layers back before someone actually types in their student ID and whatever the password is in order to get their test results.
Yeah.
And, this was just a failure from a design perspective in this case.
Yes, but this is also something that a lot of people don't think about when they're designing a site, architecting.
This comes from your backyard.
Oh, that is a Republican on the other side, but I remember there was a lot of attention. It was pretty fervorous.
So I looked at a couple of different sources on this, and clearly the press is all wrong because they're talking about they're commingling the term hits and users and load coming up, and they're talking about, oh gosh, it was 2,000 hits from computers over a 2-hour period,
and there was 1,000 RAM-ROM inserts in the thing of the interface card.
Exactly.
Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so everything was all wrong on the whole technology front.
Yes.
But what refresh effectively? We're not using effectively a CDN.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, their own cache instances that are built in when you set up a website now in Amazon EC2.
Yeah.
The Edge network. So there are lots of things that could be done that were not done here. There was similar to the Glasgow 2014, similar to the Indian school certificate.
Yep.
The fatal mistake here is so much of the site did not have appropriate cache headers on it. So every time a person came back to the site, they have to reload the majority of the content. That was necessary, particularly for return visitors. between falls elections is that when you post your results, post them.
E. coli, the E in E. coli is now for electronic E. coli, right? E-coli?
Yeah, just like our big bad introductory host talks about.
It's exactly right. Oh my gosh! So here's the real lesson, I think, for the people who give public notices. Your web page is not the one and only one communication channel you have. You can send that. They probably did send it to news sites.
They did.
They probably tweeted it, but people.
But
there's
this,
still a lot
but in
of
this
people
case, it had to be totally static content.
Of course,
everyone wanted to go there. It's an emergency situation.
Page. Don't even connect it with links to anything else that loads. Headers, footers, marketing beacons, third-party tracking, analytics for the guy who wants to get his MBA but doesn't have it yet and then just spammed your site with marketing stuff. Don't do that, you know. And if you're in a municipality, you know, come on, this is static emergency type of content. So those channels shouldn't be saturated with ads. You shouldn't have to log in to get a public service announcement about boiling water. Really. And actually, I think they should have posted something about please don't pee in the reservoirs.
You would think that would be common sense, but
tweet out, hey, at pee guy, stay away from the reservoirs, dude. Hashtag no E. coli, bro. I'm going to get a tattoo called no E. coli. Hashtag.
No E. coli.
Yeah.
E. coli with the big red circle and slash through it.
Dude, I was just trying to give something back to nature. No. Don't give your bacteria in your pee.
No, we don't pee in the same source of water we brush our teeth with.
That's really costly too. You think about the cost damages to, reservoir water like that. That's a huge. They could go in a drought. Summer's coming. That's crazy. Yeah, that's dangerous. All right, so I'm sorry I missed the bonus. That was an excellent bonus, News of the Damned. The weirdest thing.
Yeah. So think about all the trends that we see here. All four suffering from kind of the same problem. Mm-hmm. Overabundance of dynamic, all right on the front end. Need more static, need more caching, need to fundamentally think about the expires headers, particularly in the case of the election board.
Oh, yeah.
Of how often it's going to expire, when they're going to get new content.
In case of emergency, have a static, simple page that becomes the main URL for your site. All right. So, James, thank you once again for bringing us. Hang on. There we go. There's the PerfBytes outro music. Isn't that nice? So thanks for the full News of the Damned here. And let's see what else we want to. We'll just get. And thank you for his
Cubic Load Pack as well.
Cubic Load Pack, yeah. These are the two great sponsors. And we can give a couple other shout-outs here from the News of the Damned to Richard Bishop in the UK, who should be getting – his phone should be ringing. Look him up, Richard Bishop, or Trust IV, which is Mahesh and Trust IV.
Mark,
yes.
You want to hear something weird?
Yeah.
Just this last week, they put into place direct flights from Charlotte to Manchester.
Charlotte to Manchester. We could commune with Mr. Bishop in the UK to prevent all of these horrible things. And if it's you behind the curtain, Ticketmaster, we know where to find you. And
yes,
we're going to demote you to Ticket Apprentice. If you keep this behavior up, if you're behind all of this ticket mayhem, they're punishing the UK people. I know we started our own country, but we still like them. They're still allies, right? Remember World War II? That was
just remember, it's they're the barrier between us and the French.
Well, not really. If you think about Fred Behringer. Because Fred comes over all the time, and he's really hilarious guy. He's got a great sense of humor. He's very fun. He really enjoyed the Scotch on the 42nd floor in New Orleans. That was good. It was nice hanging out.
In deep thought. Yeah.
In deep thought. That's what we're going to call it from now on. Let's see what else.
True, but you have to boil it. You have to boil your meal longer at that altitude. High altitude instructions.
Yeah. And really, the public service announcement from this episode of News of the Damned is don't pee in the reservoir if you're outdoors. Pee on the land area where it can be filtered through natural moss or kind of a peat or wood chips of some sort. Don't go directly in the water. That's just gross. It's terrible. You need some natural filtration.
I would concur with that.
You would concur with that. All right, thanks, everyone. We'll see you on the next News of the Damned.
Have a great week.